Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. I'm really excited to see everyone here today. We will be discussing the assignment module. We will talk about how to use assignments on Avenue and what activities you can introduce to your students and how you can set up your assignment to make it effective and productive. We decided to split this content into two webinars. Today we will be discussing how to set up the assignment and how to set up rubrics for your assignment, either by using a template or creating rubrics from scratch. And next week, on Wednesday, November the 4th, we will be talking more about grading the assignments and providing your feedback to your students, which is one of the most important part of your work. So today, let's discuss how we set up a productive assignment on Avenue. First of all, I would like to begin with giving a brief definition to what an assignment module is. For those ones of you who were using AgileLink prior to we switch to Avenue, you've already probably already used the assignment module. It's pretty similar here on Avenue, so you will see a lot of similarities, and also yeah, so today we will talk a lot about different features and options. We will play with the settings and I will show a lot of demonstrations. Feel free to follow along so you can open your Avenue course in a new tab and just follow along, or if you prefer just to listen, that's okay. You can watch the recording after the session and try to experiment with your assignment activities in your Avenue course. Okay. So Avenue, assignment. It's basically an activity that allows your students to submit their work in a digital format. It could be a file, it could be a text that they type into the text field, or it could be an audio recording or their video recording, and they submit all their works to you so that you can have access to their works from one place. Each assignment that you create will be kind of a database of your student submissions so that you can have all of them in one place. Of course, you can use email to distribute your assignments and then ask students to email their works back to you. But with a lot of students and a lot of assignments and a lot of different deadlines, this might become messy. Students might lose your emails, or the emails might land in their, I don't know, spam folder. So it can cause a lot of confusion and frustration. With this, if you decide to use the assignment module, you will have everything organized in one place, and which is more important, you will be able to provide your feedback in the same space for students, so they will be able to go back there and check your comments, which is really very convenient. Also, the assignment module in Avenue has granular controls that will allow you to adjust your assignment projects specifically to your class needs, which means that you can tweak the submission deadlines. You can tweak the how your assignment should look like, how and when your students can get access to it. So there is a lot of functionality that we will be exploring today. And Without further ado, I would like to invite you to my Avenue course that I created for the purposes of this webinar, and I will guide you through the steps that you need to take to create an assignment on Avenue. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Just give me 1 second. Okay, this one. Okay, great. I will stop sharing my video. And now you can see my course, right? Okay, this is how your course might look like. I think you recognize a lot of the navigation drawer and the basic setup. So to create an assignment, oh, you can see my screen? Can someone please confirm in the chat box if you can see my screen? Yes, okay, perfect. Oh, sorry, I must have missed it. Okay, so great. So to create an assignment, I have a few assignments already set up, but I really want you to walk you through. Oh, sorry, I will admit the. Okay, I really want to walk you through all the steps. We turn the editing on. We click on add an activity or resource, and here it is, our assignment. When you create an assignment, you can use a title that would catch your students' attention, that will help them to realize what the expectations are and what they should do with this assignment. Also, it usually works great if you come up with some catchy title, but you can also use the titles that your students are used to. So it's absolutely up to you. I will call this assignment, I will name this assignment test assignment for the purposes of this webinar. Okay, so the description, it's pretty straightforward. These are the instructions that you're giving your students. You could use this text field. To provide those instructions. I would highly recommend you to use simple human language to make sure that your students know what they're expected to do, as if you were giving them instructions in your real classroom. Also, there is a functionality on Avenue that will allow you to even record your video, and you can share with your students. You can start with some small talk. Why are you assigning this project? What the expectations are, what you want them to achieve through this assignment, how it will be graded. And instead of typing all this, you can record a video of yourself. So if you click on this icon, record a video, your students will be able to see you and listen to you instead of just reading your instructions. So I'm closing this for now. Usually students are pretty excited to see their teacher. Okay, when you see display description on course page, if you select this option, the description, everything that you publish in this window will be published on your main course page. I wouldn't recommend doing so, because then there will be too much stuff on your main page, and it will be just extra information that they might not need. Whenever they click on the assignment and enter the assignment, they will be able to read your description and to read the instructions. So leave it as it is. You also have an option of adding a file or additional files. For example, if you would like to provide a sample of an essay, or if you have some further instructions, or if you want them to to get access to something that you really want to share with them. But again, you do not have to use this option unless you really, really want to. Just keep it simple, and it will help your students focus on the assignment itself, on the project itself. Now let's talk more about availability. So how do you set up the availability of your assignment? Allow submissions from, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you have this option enabled, your students will be able to submit their assignments only starting from a certain time and date. For example, if you are working on this project today on Friday, and you want your students to start submitting their assignments on Monday, then you enable it, right, and indicate the date. However, if you want to give them a little bit more flexibility, just don't choose this option, and they can start working on the assignment as soon as they want. The Avenue platform allows you to set up both soft due date and hard due date. Basically, if you enable due date, your learners will be aware that they are expected to finish this project, let's say by November 5th, right? This will help them keep organized and stay on track. If they miss the deadline, for example, if they decide to start working on the assignment on November 6th, they still be able to submit this work to you, but it will be time-stamped that it is past due date. However, if you don't want them to have this opportunity to submit their work after the deadline, you can use the cutoff date. If you enable it, your students won't be able to submit their assignments after a certain date. Just be careful with this option. It might sound convenient, and it might encourage your students to start working on the assignment right away. But if you use this option and someone is really late with their assignment and they want to send it to you, they will just email this project to you, and then you will have all their works in the different places. So if you want to keep all the assignments in one place, you can just select due date, and your students can always ask for extension. And there is a nice option, remind me to grade by. I know that everybody is very busy, and sometimes life happens. So if you enable this option, you will receive a notification from Moodle that there is a bunch of works that need to be graded. So it's very convenient for your time management. Okay, submission types. This section is very important for us as language teachers. Moodle has different ways that students can submit their work. It could be a file, it could be online Poodle, which is basically either audio or video recording, and it can be an online text when they have a text field and they type in their response in that text field. So let's discuss them. Let's discuss each of them. File submissions. If we choose file submission, you can choose the number of files that you would allow students to upload. Usually they don't need to upload 2 files unless they really need to. And you can choose 1 so that they do not upload any extra things to this assignment project. You can indicate the maximum submission size. If you want, for some reason, to change it, I would highly recommend not to indicate the minimum submission size, because if they decide, for example, to include their photo in the Word document or share some picture in the essay, they won't be able to submit their file, and they will have to contact you, and you will have to change the settings. So it will be just extra work for you and your students. Moodle also has gives you an opportunity to select the file types, just to make sure that your students do not submit you, for example, archives or some random files by mistake. So you can select the format that you want, right, that you need, that you ask them for. For example, it could be a PowerPoint presentation or a PDF or I don't know, some image, right? If you, but it is absolutely optional, so you don't have to do this. It just can save you up some time and avoid the situations when students submit you files that you don't know how to work with or that are not supported, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's save the activity and see how it looks when we have the file submission. I will change my setting, my role to a student. Okay, so when a student goes to your assignment and they add submission, basically they have a window where they can drag and drop their file, or they can select it from their computer. They upload the file, save changes, and this is it. We will discuss it in detail next week. But when we will be discussing grading and providing feedback, if the students submit you a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation, Moodle will convert it to PDF, so it will be easier for you to annotate and mark the assignment. So basically for you, it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go back to our, Let's go back to our assignment and tweak it a little bit more. Okay, so if we choose the online text, everything they will see is the text field that they will need, where they will need to provide, to type in their response here. So they will see, I don't have the task description because I skipped that field, but basically they will see what they need to do, and they will have this online text field, and they can start typing. I think this option works really great for smaller assignments. For example, when you ask them to jot down a brief email, or I don't know, a thank you note, just because when you give them a bigger project, for example, to work on an essay, and provide them with the online text form only, their connection might get cut off, or something happens, or they accidentally close the tab. So there is a chance that they might lose all their work. If you prefer online text format for your assignments, and you planning to give them a bigger project, just remind your students to start working on their project in a separate file, and then copy and paste it into the online text form, so they have a copy of their work just in case. And another important feature of the assignment module that is very handy for language teachers is the online Poodle form. The previous two options, they're used mostly for the writing assignment. However, online Poodle format will help you create speaking assignments. your students will be able to record themselves answering a question or providing some insights on this or that topic, and you will have access to their recordings, and you will be able to comment on their speaking samples, and they will even be able to save them in their e-portfolios. So we'll talk about saving work to the e-portfolios at the end of this session. What is important here? So basically you can choose either audio recorder and it will capture their voice only, or you can use video recorder if you really want to see their faces. It depends on your students, because you already know your students and you know if they feel comfortable using video and sharing their video or not. If yes, then that's great, because you will be able to see their facial expressions. You will be able to see their body language. And this is especially important if you're working, for example, on public speaking skills with them. However, if they're not really comfortable with it, they can just you can just set it up as an audio recorder. You can have the number of minutes. I would highly recommend select a reasonable number of minutes that it might take a person to answer to your questions. I don't know, let's say 10, depending on the task, of course. Just to be on the safe side, for example, they might start recording themselves and then they get distracted by, I don't know, their child or something else, and they forgot to hit stop. And we don't want them to upload 200 minutes of their empty desk. And then for you to trying to figure out what's happening, what's going on there. So if you have this recording time limit, it will just make sure that this is a reasonable time that you give to your students. Okay, there is also an option of Poodle Whiteboard, so they can use the whiteboard while they speak, but I would not use it. I would not use it for for speaking assignments unless you really want to, because it might be a little bit too technical for them. If they're not really comfortable with technology, or they have little digital literacy skills, then it might be an additional obstacle for them, because we want them to focus on their speaking, not on using technology. So try to keep it simple. Okay, so let's take a look how our assignment looks like now. Okay, basically they can see the record button. They start the recording. When they're done, while it is recording, the icon will be changed. So when they're done, they need to hit stop. Then they can replay it to listen to themselves. And then they will need to upload it and click on Save Changes. And you will get the recordings collected in your assignment and in this assignment database for your review and grading purposes. It is pretty straightforward. It might take some time. Maybe you could discuss this type of assignments together during one of your live sessions, just to make sure that everybody knows how to use this tool. Also, there might be some pop-up windows depending on the settings of their web browser, especially when they do this for the first time. They will need to allow Avenue access to their microphone. So you can also mention it in the description of the activity. Okay, I'm going back to my assignment, and I want to show you something else. The very important part is the feedback types. We are discussing it next week. Submission settings. There are a few moments that I really want to draw your attention to here. The require students to click the submit button. It's no by default. If you change it to yes, your student, when they submit their work to you, they will kind of submit a draft, and then they can go back to it before the due date, change it, resubmit it, and in order to submit it, they need to click the button once again. This is just an extra step for them, and if you don't really want this, you can save it as a default and have it set on no. Another thing that I want to show you here is require that students accept the submission statement. What it is, if you change it to yes, it is very important, especially for the writing assignments. If you change it to yes before uploading their document or started typing, they will need to agree to the following statement. The submission is my work, except where I have acknowledged the use of the works of other people. I think this is a fantastic way to educate your students on the on how it is not okay to steal other people's work online. You help them become better digital citizens, and they also take responsibility for their writing sample. So sometimes, and I received these questions in the registration form for this webinar, teachers were asking, how do we make sure that they do not copy and paste, or that they do not just use Google Translate and submit their assignment, right? So first of all, it's the matter of trust. If you discuss these things with them, that it's not okay, that it's always noticeable, probably they might not do this. Also, if you have an additional step like this for them, it's just another flag that it's not okay. And also, if you really feel that a student submits work that it's not their own, and you as a language professional can always tell this, right? There is a way for you to go and check. You can just open Google and you can use the quotation marks operator. So if you, for example, take a phrase from their essay that you feel does not feel right and they would not come up with this on their own, and put it in quotation marks, Google will look for the exact phrase in the exact same words in the exact same order. And you see that this phrase is mentioned on a number of essay sites available online. Also, another thing is that if you see that there are a lot of, I don't know, fancy advanced vocabulary, but sometimes it doesn't make sense, probably they have used Google Translate. So it's up to you to decide if you can trust the student with this work or not. But when you will be providing your feedback, you can attract their attention to this, saying like, I've noticed that you might have copied this text from this and that website, and just educate them that they're not cheating you, they're cheating themselves, because everybody is an adult and they're here for a certain goal, right? They're here to learn language. Okay. Another field that we will be discussing with you next week is grade. And I wanted to show you another option that is available to you. It is called restrict access. So basically what it does, you can add restriction to your assignments based on different criteria, either date, grade, password, user profile, and so on and so forth. For example, you can restrict access to this file to certain users, or you can make this assignment password protected, and they will get password only after they complete another assignment. But what I want to show you today is the date option. So if you select date, you can make this assignment visible only if it matches certain criteria. I will cancel it for now because I have some pre-made activities for you. Setting up the date restriction is a great way for you to automate some of the work. For example, we know how important it is to practice writing and speaking daily. So using this functionality, you can create daily writing prompts for your students. Basically, these are just the activities. You can make them as simple as this, describe the picture, and you set up this restrict access functionality that students must match all the following. They can access it from midnight, October 30th to 11:55 p.m. on October 30th. So basically, this activity will be visible to them only today. You can see that I've duplicated this activity, created another daily writing prompt by basically just clicking on duplicate and changing the date and changing the picture. But let me change my view to the student role. You can see that they only see October 30th. They do not see October 31st yet. But if we open this page tomorrow, they will be able to see October 31st, but they won't be able to see October 30th. And it literally takes a few moments just to copy, paste, and change a date. And you can set up these activities for the whole week. It will take you no more than, 15 minutes to set everything up, but your students will have some extra work to do every day of the week. And they will be looking forward to a new assignment, and they will be looking forward to working on something new daily. This was an example of writing prompt, but you can also create daily speaking prompts, and you can set up Poodle assignments. You can provide them with some speaking prompts topics for each day of the week and ask them to record themselves, right? It can be something as simple as name a book you started reading but never finished, or share the longest road trip you've ever taken, or describe, how would you spend $1,000. So it could be anything. It could be something related to your current topic, or it can be a random topic just to warm them up. There is a nice website. I'm sharing the link in the chat box, where they have lots of prompt ideas. They have writing prompts, but you can always use them for speaking prompts, just to give you some idea and to save you some time on coming up with those activities. Some of them might not be appropriate for adult learners, so you just need to make sure that you're selecting the ones that will work for your students. Okay, so basically we've discussed everything about how to set up an activity, and you can see that you can change different settings to make sure the activity that activity will work for your students and will work for your teaching context. Now, I really would like to talk with you about rubrics a little bit. You might ask why we are discussing them today, because we're discussing grading and assessment and feedback next week. I still feel that providing setting up a rubric is a part of the setting up the activity, because your students, before they start working on the activity, they need to know how they will be assessed and what they need to pay special attention to. And if you set up a rubric, your students will be able to see it, and they will be able to adjust their work accordingly. So on Avenue, there are two ways of setting up a rubric. You could either create it from scratch, or you can, instead of reinventing the wheel, you can use templates that we have ready for you. The templates that we have on Avenue are created in the CLB framework, which is great for language instructors. They are adapted from the Conestoga College, from their link assessment generating tool. All those rubrics are available on Tutela, but you have quick access to them on Avenue. So now I will show you how we can set up a rubric using a template that we have prepared for you. Okay, we do not have them openly available, so to use this or that rubric, you need to restore it, and it's just a few steps, and they're not really complicated. So you go to restore. So you click on your editing settings and click on restore. This will allow you to grab it from our repository. You can see that there are lots of repositories available. You need the rubric repository. You go to, depending on your needs, you can go to either speaking or writing rubric. Then you select your CLB level, and you can see that they are aligned with the CLB framework. So CLB 4.1, that's interacting with others, CLB 4.2, that's reproducing information, then 3 is getting things done, and 4 is sharing information. So depending on your assignment, you select the rubric that you need. So I will choose this one, and you click select this file. Then you click restore. You can see that there is a number of steps that you need to take. Basically, you have everything already in place. You click continue. Then you need to choose your course. Just make sure that you're choosing your course, not someone else's. My course, because it starts apparently with A, is the first one, but it might take you some time to find yours, so there is a search box for you. Then you click continue. You click next. You make sure that this is the one that you really want. You click next. This is the review, and you perform the restore. It might take some time, and once it's done, you click on continue. Okay. Okay, and you can see that this assignment, writing CLB 4.4, is already here in your general section. You can move it to whatever section of your course you want. It's hidden by default, so let's show it. And when you open it, it's an assignment a regular assignment that we've just created, but it has the rubric pre-set up. In the description, we have this copyright statement and where this rubric comes from. Because the description here is for our students, this is just too much information for them that they don't need. We can delete it for now. You change the name of your task. You insert the description. And you select whatever settings you want to change. And basically, this is it. If I change, let me check one thing. Yes, we have rubric selected. Once we go to the, I change my role to the student. You can see that they have, when the student goes to this assignment, they can see the rubric itself, right? You can notice that it's a bit long because it basically covers every single aspect of CLB for sharing information. And I will show you in a second how you can change that to make it more student friendly. And when they add submission, once they add, they can read the task, they can add a submission, they can add their file or whatever you have set up for them. And when you start grading the work, you will have access to the same rubric. Okay, now I want to show you how to tweak this rubric a little bit. In your assignment, if you go to advanced grading, you have access to this rubric. Let's edit the current. Yes, if we click on edit, you can see this description of this rubric. I would leave it for here because this is not for your students. This is for the graders. You can either delete or remove or rename anything you want here to make sure that your students know what you want them to do. So you can rephrase those criteria depending on your students' language ability, their language level. And here at the bottom, you can uncheck this box, display rubric description to those being graded. So to make sure that your students do not see this description because this is just extra information for them. However, you yourself or another teacher added to your course, for example, a teacher assistant, will be able to see this and will know where this rubric comes from. Okay. And another thing that I want to show you is how to create rubric from scratch, because you might not always need rubrics that are CLB aligned with so many criteria, right? If it's not for a formative or summative assessment, if it's just for students to know what they're working on, you can easily come up with your own rubrics that will work for that context. And as we are discussing assignments today, you've seen how to create an assignment from scratch, how to set it up and everything. But what you can do, you can always find a lot of assignments that are already here, that are part of the courseware that you're working with. And you can see the icon, it is also an assignment. And because you already know all the settings and how to change everything, you can make the similar changes to any assignment that you can find in your courseware and adapt it to your class purposes. For example, you can easily change the task description. If you, for example, this is the tongue twisters on the TH sound, to practice TH sound. If you're not happy with the description or if you want to add some extra information, feel free to do so. And you can also set up a rubric created specifically for this task. So how we do this? You click on the activity settings, define rubric. And here you can basically add criteria that you want your learners to focus on. For example, it could be voiced TH at the beginning of the word. It could be voiced TH at the end of the word, and so on and so forth, depending on what your students are working on. You can change the level, so we can change it to needs more practice, good, excellent. So I'm just choosing a random criteria and random levels of their mastery of the sound. It's up to you to change it to whatever works for you. I'm doing it only for the purpose of this demonstration, to show you how it will look like. Okay, so and your students will know what they are being assessed on. Okay, we save the rubric and make it ready. Oh, I haven't named it. Okay, and when we go back to our activity and change our role to the student, you can see the rubric that we've just created. They have access to it and they know what they're being assessed on. So this is just an example how you can use rubrics and how you can make rubrics a part of your assignment setup. Oh, and I also promised you to show how to tag assignments for ePortfolios. On Avenue, each student can have an ePortfolio folder where they can, that will contain the collection of their works for further review and assessment and everything. So whatever you need it for. And adding an assignment to this ePortfolio collection is really, really simple. So everything that you need to do, oh, I need to return to my normal view. Okay, so everything, for example, let's say you want to have this, your first house assignment. This is a part of your assessment and you want it to go into their portfolio folders. So what you do, you go to Edit Settings, you scroll all the way down, you can see tags here. And in this section, you select ePortfolio so that this assignment will go to the ePortfolio folder. And you can also select either it's a speaking or writing assignment, because the ePortfolio folder will contain those 4 folders, right? And this is it. And you save and display, or save or return to course, it doesn't matter. And once your student submits their assignment, it will be in their portfolio folder. I have a test student set up. So this is a student. This is not a teacher's view. This is a student's view. I just want to show you how it will look like for them. I think it was your first house. Yes, so this is your first house. They add a submission. We type text or whatever, they submit a file. We save changes. Okay, and we go to their dashboard. And if you scroll all the way down, in their private files, there is ePortfolio, writing. This is the name of the course. And this is their submission. Okay, and also they will have access to it if they go to the classroom. Oh, no, sorry. If they go to the binder, not classroom, binder. you can see that this is my portfolio section and this is their assignment. Okay, I'm going back to my teacher course. Oh, you cannot see my screen? Oh, that's weird. Give me 1 second. It still says that I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm stop sharing for now. Okay, and I will share it again. Okay, can you see it now? Yes, okay, perfect. Did you see the students view from when I went to my, not a student, okay. Okay, so I'm going back to the student. Okay, I will open the course. So this is a fake student account. And this is the assignment that we've just set up in the course, your first house. You still can't see? Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, can you see it now? Yes, okay, wonderful. So this is, sorry about that. So this is the student view of the course, right? So it's not my account, it's a student's account. And this is the assignment that we've just set up with our rubrics. When she goes here and because I've already made a submission while not sharing my screen, we will edit the submission. Okay, we save changes. And we can see that the activity is submitted for grading. Now, if we go to her dashboard and scroll all the way down, you see in the private files, there is ePortfolio folder. We can see writing, we can see assignments 1-on-1. This is the name of the course that she is a part of. And this is her submission. She can also have access to it through the binder section. This is her portfolio and this is her submission. Okay, I'm going back to my course. Yeah, so this is everything that I wanted to show you about how to set up the assignment and how to make sure that you use all the functionality of the module that is available to you. I'm open to your questions. Feel free to ask them if Paul hasn't addressed them. I can see that Paul did a fantastic job answering your questions. I will leave my screen share for now in case you have some question about the course or the assignment. Is there any way to prevent students from using browsers that are translated into their own language? Is that the save browser setting I see in the quiz feature? Well, even if you set it up to use the save browser setting that will not allow them to translate it, they can always take their smartphone and do the translation. So it's not about using technology to prevent them from translating. It's about educating them on how it is important to use English for their language classes rather than Google Translator. And again, you will always notice if they're using Google Translate, right? You will always see those, you will notice those patterns that your students have never used those grammatical structures yet, or they do not know this vocabulary, or it sounds weird. So you can use this experience to educate them on importance of using their knowledge and their language skills to complete your assignments. Can we create a rubric without points? We will discuss rubrics in more details next week. So I will show you different ways of how to set up a rubric. by default, I'm not sure if you can, because on Moodle or on Avenue, there is a certain math that's hidden behind the scenes when we're using rubrics. I'm not sure if you change it to all zeros, how it will look like, because it might create some issues. I will make sure that they try and play with it before the next webinar to answer your questions. For now, I would say that it is not recommended because it can lead to some other problems, because the rubrics initially is designed to have this math behind the scenes. When can we register for your next webinar? Oh, you can do it now. The link to the registration form is available on the forum. I published both links together. So if you go back to my post that you used to register for this webinar, you will find the registration link to the next webinar. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Paul. Well, I stop sharing my screen. Okay. Yeah. Hi again, everyone. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate your questions, and I really appreciated that you spend your afternoon or morning, depending on where you are right now, to learn something new to use with your students. And I hope that I will see everyone next week on Wednesday and we continue this discussion. Again, if you have any questions, never hesitate to email me, or if you feel that other teachers might also learn something new from your question, ask this question on the forum. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Paul, for your help. I really appreciate it. And have a happy and safe Halloween, everyone. Okay, bye. Yes, thank you. See you next week.